morning, Jake.
Mike, how are you today, man?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. It's a beautiful day. Things are great. We're here with Total Disruption. I'm super excited to be here. I know you are too. I've got a hot topic for us to discuss today. Getting
It's
in
really
front.
the topic, according to our survey.
Is it?
It pretty much
It's
is. Yeah, it pretty much is.
all right. Well, it's called Getting in Front of Your Audience. We are running hot on this right now. And you and I are always out there searching for new ways, right? We're looking at people, we're looking at things, we're looking at systems on how to get in front of an audience. Let me break this down. When we say get in front of an audience, it means putting yourself out there in space, either in print or online or on audio or video. It can be television, it can be any medium where people are trying to watch, you're interrupting them with your marketing. You're grabbing attention and you're getting them to do something and move towards you. Now, when we say get in front of your audience, it might not be your audience, it might be somebody else's audience, but everybody is your audience at one point or another. So,
Mhm.
as we walk down the path, let's go over some strategies about how to get in front of an audience. I know you're a speaker, Jake.
Yep.
Why don't we talk with the end result, and then let's wrap backwards and talk about some psychological barriers, and we'll put that together. We start talking about this. I like to go from the here's some ideas for you, and then I like to go to here's a psychological premise behind why you want to do this. Okay. So let's first start talking about speaking in front of crowds. Now, when we talk about speaking in front of crowds, this could be at a coffee shop, it can be at a business lunch and learn, it can be at a church. You could go on the busy street in New York and just start running your mouth with a little sign. However mental you want to be and disrupt is the power you have is to get in front of groups. If you don't talk to people, people will not find you and what you need and what you have to offer. So if you want to, Jake, break it down, let's talk about how to get speaking gigs. Let's talk about some fears you have. Let's talk about some success. And what does speaking really mean? Let's break this down. Let's pull back the myth here and let's cut to it. Go.
Yep. So you're right, man. So speaking has several different things. Speaking is not just, Tony Robbins, I'm in front of the people doing the thing in the 50,000 people stadium, right? That's not totally accurate. Is that a piece of it? Yeah, it's a piece of it. It can be, but there's a bunch more ways. Like Mike said, it can be in different places. So let's go backwards from this. So right now, if we think about this is where we get to speak on this from this authority standpoint. On average per week, if you track our numbers through different places, and here's where we're going to come to this from, through different things, different speaking things that we do on a weekly basis, Michael and I touch right about 50,000 people a week on average. That's pretty average when we come right down to it. Sometimes we've got a little bit more. And we want to talk a little bit about evergreen too. We want to make sure we touch on that evergreen piece because that's something we aren't tracking, but we can speak and expound on that. So if we just say the numbers we can see that we are physically looking at, it's going to be that we touch about 50,000 people a week. Now, it's not that we're on this, that we have 50,000 people that are watching this episode. We will get to that point, which means we'll be touching like 75 to 100,000 people a week. And that'll be awesome. Now, in the different streams of places that we're going to do it. So yes, and Michael does it too. I'm a public speaker. I speak on a lot of different virtual summits, some in-person conferences, stages in front of rooms, and do trainings and things. Now, virtual conferences, thereabouts, you can figure about 1,000, 1,500 people are at most on the average of the virtual. Some are bigger, some are smaller. But if you figure about 1,500 people that you're going to get in front of on a virtual stage, and there's lots of ways to get on those stages, we can show you how to do that. Podcast and other TV show guest appearances is a piece of that. That's all relative to the other podcast, other TV show hosts' numbers. So if they've got an audience of 50,000 people, well, guess what? You just leveraged that and you were able to get in front of 50,000 people. If they've got a room full of 2 people, you're talking to 2 people. That is how that's going to go. Social media, people forget, oddly, that social media is a speaking platform. 100% it's a speaking platform. So depending on the size of your following on social media, be it Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, doesn't matter, don't care. The size of your following is the audience you're speaking to, right? That's totally how that goes. So you have to look and see, all right, where does my audience live? Where do they spend the vast majority of their time? And how am I going to reach them? So this is from the market research that we did. For everything that we do, we said, all right, because of the age bracket and the businesses that typically are attracted to what we do and the people that we speak to, Facebook is still a thing. Still a thing. Instagram is a thing. It's a place that we are. Different podcasts, but within, we're not on every podcast, right? You have to pick and choose which podcast, and it has to be in alignment with what you're doing. And then obviously we have the TV show. Now, initially, I'm not going to lie about this, I came kicking and screaming to the TV show. Mike can totally tell you this. It took him time to convince me we're going to do the TV show, not the podcast. Like, it took time to get there, and our audience is the right audience. He knew where it was. He had done the research. He'd looked at it and said, this is where our people are. This is what the research says. We have to go there. And I will not lie, I came kicking and screaming to it. But it's all right. So he won. I'll give him that one. He wins, right? So yeah, I know. There you go. Take the celebration. So let's back this up. What led us here? And we can both talk about this a little bit. So right now, like, I've been an elite coach for a decade now. Is what I've been in this industry, and I've been coaching and training and consulting. We did the math the other day. It's spooky. Between the two of us, we've got like $4.6 billion of business in our rosters, and like $2 billion in business growth. By all accounts, we are very successful business and development coaches. That's the truth. And we're always trying to grow. We're always trying to help. How do we do it? Well, we've been growing referral businesses for years, which is I meet Mike. Mike introduces me to 1 or 2 people. Those 1 or 2 people introduce me to 1 or 2 people. And we have expanded our network that way. It's a very effective way to do business. And yet we've made the decision to coin the term, right? Influencers. We've just made the decision to go ahead and be influencers. So therefore we have to show up in different markets. It's just not a choice. You have to show up in different markets in different ways. So that's where some of this comes from. So I had to make the choice. Now, I'll own this one, and this is self-deprecating humor. You guys can send me the letters later, but dude, I've got the face for radio. That's plain and simple. That's where I've always thought about it. You guys can send me the letters later. It's okay. I pick on myself that way, and it's cool. But you have to make the choice and go, all right, in order to reach my audience, in order to have greater impact, in order to do that thing, I'm going to have to do it. So then you have to go, how? So this is where we get a little bit tactical on the how. You can pick your platforms. We said social media is a platform to reach out to as an influencer. Tons of people using it. Podcast guest appearances, virtual stages, real stages, TV show. Those are kind of our primary platforms. There's more, but those are our primary platforms. We had to make the decision to be there for one. So like, Michael, you and I have been speaking a long time, like, yeah, just, in different aspects, but we had to make the decision to do it differently now. So like, right, where was your first stage? Let's back up to that one. Let's play that out of where did you start?
So oh God, I don't even know where I started. My first stage was small group training and fitness. That was where I started doing lunch and learns and working with groups of people. And I realized the common purpose about which everyone gathered and was in a space where they were ready to receive some of the information I was willing to give, made the impact of the information that much better. And as I went from those stages, I went to Achieve Systems, my other company, really started speaking a lot on those stages. And I realized people would come up after me and say, "Hey, I really want to coach with you. I really want to do things with you." And that really turned me into the power of coaching. But why we turned to this, and I'll echo you a little bit, but I'll also go off on a different tangent. We wanted to control the narrative. We wanted our own
Mhm.
space, our own platform, our own bubble, our own world, our own ecosystem where outside of FCC communication rules and outside of the frame of a network on the television show, because we're on the E360 TV network, we have our own world, like our own world. And in our own world, we can control what we say and what we talk about. It aligns with the mission from here and here that says we want to impact more people. We want to show people how to disrupt. We want to highlight disruptors. We want to interview disruptors. We want to coach people both in personal development and business growth on how to move the needle differently and effectively and honestly. And I realized the power of speaking wasn't just to get people to pay me. The power of speaking was to unlock potential in other people that they knew was there, but they heard something that I said, and much like a tumbler in a lock, it was like click, boom, and they went off and did
Mhm.
their thing. It's almost like you're passing the impact torch, and you're motivating somebody. Now,
Ooh.
it's nice when they hire you. It's great to get a financial reward. It's great. It's awesome. It's awesome to feel comfortable and, you know, almost as one would go to work and get a paycheck. It's almost nice. It's a cool concept and it's a little bit sexy to go on stage, come off stage, influence, have people sign up for your program or plan. But when you start getting into that frame set, you're missing the point of speaking. Point of speaking is to entertain the options of the mind and then open them up.
Mhm.
Now, when we talk about speaking on social media, when people plug into your channel, the thread is a stream of consciousness that's yours, that you own. You don't worry about what other people are thinking about your stream of consciousness. Those that'll like it will be there. Those that don't won't. Like, stop talking at cocktail parties about what your theories and thoughts of the world are. Take them from a cocktail party and bring them out to the world if that's your personality, or if you're a person who's trying to actually establish something in the world where you're trying to find other like-minded people. So I just said a lot there, Jake. You want to help me unpack some of that?
And that's the truth. And like the easy button on this one from a description is this is one layer of our marketing campaign. Comes right down to it. This is one layer of our marketing campaign through reach and how we're doing it. And that was done through research. It was done through market assessments. Where is our crowd? What are they doing? What do they want to hear? What do they want to feel? What do they want to see? We had to understand first our value proposition, and we had to understand where we're going, what we're doing, right? Where we're going, what we're doing. We had to build all that stuff. We had to do the marketing stuff. So here's the game. I will show you guys this. You guys know that it's that time of the show. Total-disruption.com. Guess what? We built all of this for you. You can have it. You can have it. Total-disruption.com. Go there. There's a full marketing kit. There's a marketing assessment you can fill out. This is the stuff my business does. This is who they are. It's not the standard question of who's your ideal client. I hate that question because it's just, to me, it's the wrong one. So we built a different assessment that goes out and says, this is where my audience is. These are the tasks I need to do. This is how I need to get there. And this is what's going to get me that client acquisition. Because when it comes right down to it, more clients means more revenue. More revenue solves damn near every problem in your business, right? Am I
Right.
wrong about that? If we had more revenue, wouldn't it solve all our problems? As I look at that, that's where I go with this from the marketing standpoint. So go to the website, get it for free, rip us off. We're cool with it, man. Like we're building this stuff, and when it works, we want you to have it. Anything else on that, Mike? And then we'll keep rolling on this.
I mean, I honestly, that summed it up. I feel like if you want to plug into a community of like-minded people and you want to get some personal development and business acceleration, and you want to go a little faster where you're trying to go, we're basically making our stuff accessible to the world at a reasonable rate. And again, for us, it's not about money, but we've got to stick around and keep getting paid to impact, because otherwise we'd be go broke and wouldn't have a business. So we're trying to also help Wounded Warriors. We're trying to help Boys and Girls Club. We're trying to do the right thing by society and give back. But the idea is not about you come join as a member and pay us. The idea is you invest in yourself and you invest in going faster and getting your message out there to the world and changing lives. That's what I have to say on that, Jake.
That's the amen truth, man. I totally agree to that. So back to it, right? From that, now we understand why it's important for us to speak. This is our model. We know that that's true, obviously, because we're
I
on
can hear you.
Yeah. So we know that's the deal. So like we know that's our model. Now we know we have to do it. We know the where of what we got to
Right.
get done with that. So from a mental block standpoint, the mental block, let's roll back to this, and it's the common one. Fear of public speaking. That's the most common one, right? Is the fear of public speaking. That's the one that so many people. I've coached on it. How many people on it? Was there a time I had it? 100%. Yes, absolutely. I was terrified to get in front of the room. You know why? Because I wanted to be right and I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be right and I wanted people to like me. What if I was wrong in front of the room? Oh dear God, oh monsieur, what would happen if I was wrong? And I would go down that road. I build these mental freaking giant walls of just getting in my way. And the same thing is I wanted people to like me. So I always got up there and I tried to be funny. I am kind of funny, but I always tried to went way too far. And I wasn't. I just wasn't that person. So I mean, you have to get out of your own way. The fear of public speaking is one of those things that we build up a perception, we build up a reality that doesn't actually exist. That's my opinion. Are there a pile of different ways to get over it? Absolutely. So, what was one of your hangups for not getting into public speaking, Mike?
I overthought the process. I overthought, do I suck at this? Do I not have a formula? Do I not have a entertaining speech? Do I not, there are people getting boring? Am I monotone? I was like you. It wasn't necessarily a fear. I just didn't want to suck. And I didn't want to be boring. I didn't want to bore other people, because then I put myself in a situation where I was in the audience with a boring speaker. I don't want to be that way. So I wasn't comfortable narrowing things down. So I kind of had this mental piece and then I had this topic piece, because I like to talk about just about anything. I'll talk about the color of a blade of grass for an hour and a half, because I like to hear myself talk and I like the idea of exploring the nature of the color of grass. I could talk about the shape of snowflakes for forever and a day and how weird it is and all the stuff behind it, because discovering things fascinate me. And I didn't realize to talk to somebody and get a point across, you actually have to be a little bit specific. Like in this particular episode that we're filming right now and we're talking through right now, we're pretty linear, okay? We've covered some tangents, but we've brought ourselves back to center about getting the message out and cleaning things up and the mental aspects. We've stayed on topic. If Jake and I started one way and then we ended up talking about vacations, this would not make any sense, right? We couldn't impact. The torch wouldn't be passed along because the message wouldn't be accepted correctly. So my biggest fear was the two things. It was I'm boring, I'm not good enough, and I don't want to be pigeonholed into any one thing. That was my two biggest fears. The truth is, you actually have to talk about something. If you've got a product or service that you want to get out there, you've got to be able to talk about some results of it. Okay, great. You probably solve 5 problems. Pick one and talk about it. You don't
Mhm.
have to mention all 5 problems. Chances are there's enough overlap. And if the audience is broad enough, and if you're good enough, you can talk about all 5 constructively in a line. The same thing is happening on the social media platforms, right? Even if nobody likes your stuff, it doesn't matter. Your stuff is out there.
Yeah.
If you do run into somebody and they want to check you out, right? Go to Total Disruption on Facebook. Go wherever we are. There's enough stuff on there. Go to our YouTube channel. There's the shorts and reels and episodes and things caught up. Go do a dive. Check us out. That's one of the first things that I do when I meet somebody is check out our stuff on YouTube or go to e360tv.com under Achieve TV and check out Total Disruption. This is what we are. You want this kind of stuff? Here, I have a little shortcut. This is a tip for you. I have a copy paste function on my phone where I have the clipboard ready to go with the Total Disruption YouTube link. So if I'm text introducing myself, boom, there you go. Check me out. Check us out. It's never me, it's us, but I say
Mhm.
check us out. This is what we're doing. So when it comes down to one line, one message, one platform, or staying organized, getting your stuff out there, it is very easy and has a very simple formula. Put your stuff somewhere, talk about the things you solve. Don't worry about your fear because, yes, you are going to suck for a while, but
Totally.
you will find your perfect match and then have some sort of this is me, this is where you can get me. Here, check me out. Can we do something else together?
Yep. And so with that, like, and Mike's right. Like, go back and look at some of our early stuff. 100%. It'll make you feel good about what you're doing. Go back and
Right?
look at some of the stuff I did years ago. I was doing podcasts by myself. I used to record back when I was an executive for a real estate company. I used to record Tuesday trainings when I was in the front of the room and I had my little suit jacket on. Yeah, I mean, go check out some of that old stuff. Is it gold? No. Did I say something? And to Mike's point, did I say something that somebody heard that impacted them? Yeah. You know why that works? And this is where we started with the evergreen part. That content lives out there forever. Unless you physically somehow can wipe that footprint from the internet, I don't know how to do it. Like there is hours and hours and hours and hours of Jake on video out there, which to me is mind blowing, quite
Right?
honestly. But it's evergreen content. We've got another friend on another TV show, and we talk about Steve Ramona all the time. That he
Love that
talks
guy.
about. Oh, he's such a good guy. I mean, such a come from contribution. He's always about value. Like he's one of our role models that we look at. That's why we're giving stuff away. That's why you can go to total-disruption.com and rip us off, and we're happy with it. Like because we look up to Steve, and that's what he does. So, but you can go back and here's something I'll tell you. One of my favorite mentors in coaching. His name's Terry Gurno. Dude's a great guy. Love Terry Gurno. I hope he watches this. Man, I love you, buddy. He once told me the right question asked at the right time will change a person's life. I believe the same is true with the evergreen content. And this is where, back to Steve Ramona, something he recorded, 3 or 4 years ago with somebody, someone watched it and went and bought this person's high ticket offer. They bought their coaching package for like 10 grand years after they'd recorded that episode. So that's what you got to understand about, even if the content sucks, something's still good in there. Something's going to speak to somebody in your audience. Somebody's going to say, yeah, man. And it could be years down the road that it's going to touch somebody and change their life and impact them.
And if you think it sucks, somebody's going to think it's gold. You
Yep.
even if you have a lot of breaks, if you're stuttering a lot, if you're stumbling, if there's big gaps and dead space, Yeah, okay, it's not a professional broadcast, but if you're trying to get a point across and you want a volume of work, it's there. It's there. It's living in space. Our thing is come hang with us if you want to get a little bit more in depth on this. We've got our, you know where to find us, right? Total-disruption.com. Otherwise, we'll be back on here for our next episode, and we'll be jamming out with you guys soon. Jake, we're short on time, so everybody, I'm Mike Labersi for Jake Glendenning. We'll see you next time on Total Disruption.
Thanks, guys.